Welcome back to another episode of Bending Time with Deryl Sweeney. Now, today, I want to talk about something that chances are you do almost every day, every week, every month. And in a lot of ways, your team probably does too. And that is, I want to talk to you about virtual calls, right? Virtual meetings. We're all on them. Ever since COVID, they've been all the rage. It allows us to talk to anybody everywhere. But very few of us put a deep level of thought into how we're showing up. And so I want to invite you to do that today. And this is coming from a session that I had within SCG Leadership Institute not long ago. So my coach, Ankush, came in. He talked to the cohort, absolutely killed it. If you've been a part of anything Kush does and you've seen how he shows up, he does what he does. He showed up, he challenged people's thinking, he loved on people, he killed it. But before he got started, he spoke about something that you've heard me speak about as well. He spoke about listening. And he invited the entire room to slow down and think about how they're listening. And he asked them, he said, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is the level of listening that you've listened to everything up until this point? And up until that point, I'd given an intro, I'd created the room, I'd introduced Kush, I'd told a couple stories, so I'd set the stage. And he said, in the first 15, 20 minutes, what is the listening, the level of listening you brought to this, right? With 10 being your highest listening, meaning you're absolutely locked in, you're not missing a thing, you are there for it. And 1 being when your partner says, hey, honey, and whatever they say next, and your response is, huh? And he asked us to put the answer in the chat. And so people started coming in. We saw 6s, we saw 7s, we saw 8s, we saw 9s. And he slowed us down. He said, I want to invite each of you to bring your highest listening to these next 90 minutes. I want you to be at a 10, because if you do, you're going to hear things that you don't hear at an 8 or a 9. You're going to have insights and think about opportunities and possibilities that are available to you that you will completely miss at a 6. If you're giving half of your attention here and half of it onto a phone or onto your team messenger, you're going to miss some things. So I invite you to be here. And then he said this, and this is what I want you to think about. He said, the funny thing about Zoom is, I happen to use Zoom. Maybe it's Microsoft Teams or Google for you, but whatever your video messenger or meeting technology of choice is, he said, when we're in these meetings, we tend to listen differently and in ways that we do if we were in person. He said, if we were in person, nobody would be in the middle of the meeting and say, yeah, honey, just a minute, I'm doing the thing. Like, that just wouldn't happen. Nobody would be sitting there scrolling on their phones. Nobody would be listening to this meeting and maybe having, another meeting that they're listening into, or maybe checking email in the middle of it. We just wouldn't do that if we were in person. But this digital technological age has opened the door for us to do all kinds of things at the same time, especially for you maximizers and optimizers out there. You know who you are. And well, if I can just get this done, or if I can be a little distracted, or let me check out what's going on my phone. And we think the people in the meeting won't notice. So why am I bringing this up? Because I want you to show up more powerfully in meetings? Yeah, of course. But it's more than that. I love giving you guys real ways to show up powerfully that is just low-hanging fruit. We are so distracted when it comes to meetings. We are so all over the place. And most people, we notice it, but we don't say anything about it. We just let it roll. The other thing we notice? We notice the people who are locked in. We notice the people who are fully present. We notice the people who are listening and engaging at an incredibly high level because it's so rare. You want to set yourself apart at work? Bring level 10 listening to your virtual meetings. You want to stand out to your boss or to a client or a customer? Bring level 10 listening. So many of my clients, some of the reflections I get is they tell me things like, I've never been listened to the way you listened to me when I met you. I've never been listened to, and people don't typically hear some of the things that you hear and notice. Any of my clients would tell you that I pay a lot of attention to language. But that comes with the listening I bring to each and every situation. And look, it's a lot easier to bring powerful listening when somebody's sitting in the chair across from me and in the same room. And it's so tempting to get distracted, to be all over the place, to bring a 5 or a 6 level listening when it's virtual. This may seem like a small thing, but I would challenge that and tell you that this can be the great differentiator. This could be the difference between you being chosen for the next promotion or you being passed over. This could be the difference between how your direct report feels about your one-on-ones, that you're there, that you're present, that you're listened to, or if they feel like you're just checking a box. So my challenge to you today is simple. Get really honest for a minute. How are you showing up to your virtual meetings? What is the level of listening you are bringing to your virtual meetings? And here's a hint. At a bare minimum, if your camera's not on, you might as well not even be there. If you are saying yes and showing up to meetings and your camera's not on, then I would ask how important is it for you to be there in the first place? Take the time back. Do something more productive. If it's not worth you being there, if you wouldn't be there in person, don't be there online because you're not really there anyway. This is an opportunity to step into more of your power as a leader, as a professional, as a human, and a chance to really create some distance between you and everybody else, bringing that lower level of listening, especially online. Check it out. Let me know how it goes. And by the way, if you're a leader, if you're running virtual meetings, right, if you have colleagues who are doing virtual meetings, if you're engaging with customers and your team is in these meetings, send this video to them. Can you imagine what would shift if your entire team, your entire organization brought level 10 listening to your meetings with each other and to the people you serve? Right? Things will shift. Let me know how it goes. See you soon.